call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Certainly. Commissioner McConnell.
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Here.
Commissioner Rushing.
Here.
Commissioner Dunn.
Here.
Commissioner Bohm.
Here.
Commissioner Graytop.
Here.
Commissioner Tamian.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the Human Services Committee agenda this evening?
I would move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Support. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Are there any, I don't see any citizens, are there any are there any members of the county staff that want to address us at this time? Or do you want to wait for your own items to come up, I imagine? Updates. Are there any updates from commissioners? Conceptual initiatives from administration? I don't see any old business. Under new business, we have a request to submit a grant to the St. Clair County Community Foundation, and Dr. Mercantile is here tonight. She wants to talk a little bit about amending the amount of the grant.
Thank you, gentlemen. Most of you are familiar with this hub that we've been developing gradually but assuredly through state funds. Those state grant dollars, as they apply to the hub, no longer exist. And so as a work of the local leadership group, they have directed us to apply for this funding through the Community Foundation. I do believe it fits with their agenda and their goals and objectives for the coming year. But we originally had thought $30,000 was appropriate. After further discussion, we're going to actually reduce that amount to $20,000 to really focus on developing data dashboards and doing a little bit more outreach activity. So everything else remains the same. Your letter of support would be very helpful, of course. We've received letters of support from our Board of Health and from all the other agencies that are involved. So we're hopeful it'll work. Do you have any questions about the grant itself or the hub?
No, but I'm going to have you touch base on what we just chit-chatted a little bit earlier.
Sure.
I think Carl sent me the link on Oakland County. They were
Yes.
using a particular discount program that was, quite successful for them down there. Not health insurance for. I'll let Doc explain that part of it, but it was a piece of it. I actually reached out. I know the county board chairman down there. Spoke to him and spoke to their assistant about it. They went through an RFP process. They, went with this particular company, very happy, so on and so forth. So I called Dr. Mercantile, since she's the health expert, and kind of pass the information on. You just want to.
So I spent a little time, although I'll have a kind of a more formal report as far as what I found out in the coming week, but prescription discount programs, there's myriads of them. We have actually probably a half a dozen or more in this county already. They're provided by Council of Aging, United Way. These are generally free programs. You can sign up for them for free, and you download a card, and you take this little card to usually big box pharmacies, and they provide a certain discount on your prescriptions if you're paying cash for them. You cannot use these discount cards if you're using your copay for your insurance. Some of them allow discounts if you have a particularly high deductible. Say you have a $2,000 deductible, you're paying out of pocket for your scripts up to that amount. You could use the discount card for most of them in that respect. It's all across the board as far as the amount of discounts, and the program that Mr. Bohm had me review is called Coast to Coast, and they are unique and that they are focusing on county government endorsement, and they do provide a certain royalty based on the per script utilization. So if a county used 3,000, had 3,000 rebated or discounted prescriptions, they would give $1.25 per script. And as a result, I'm not aware of any of the discount programs that actually provide some revenue back to the county, that's unrestricted back to the county. I think there's no downside to using these discount programs, but there's not always a significant savings to people. For instance, the drugs that they could buy discounted are purely up to the pharmaceutical or the pharmacies that they're dealing with. So it might be different from Walgreens to Rite Aid. A script for a generic blood pressure pill might be very different than the discount for a trade name antibiotic, for instance. But the discounts can be as much as 65% on a generic drug. So the savings is there, and I don't see any real downside. So we'll continue to look at that. If you had any other questions about it.
Thanks.
Just for clarification, this would be for our employees and our retirees only?
As I understand this would be a countywide. It would be available countywide. In fact, the salesperson I talked to specifically said he likes to target libraries. He likes to target hospitals. They actually, and it's the other positive thing about this company is that they do their own distribution. So it would not be on our backs to try and market and distribute this. They would actually do the press releases and the distributions themselves at no extra cost. Obviously, this is, it's their dime. They make money on this, but there is a benefit probably to our community as well.
Dr. Mercantile, this could potentially be available to citizens at large?
Citizens at large. It is
That's
absolutely available to citizens
right.
at large. Yes. It's not restricted to any entity. It's not provided through any insurance plan or anything. This is a completely separate issue.
As I said earlier, I know Oakland County, they went through a big big RFP process, so on and so forth. This was a company that they essentially chose, and I think when you read the article too, they had real good results from it, and it was a no-cost situation. So,
What caught my attention is that revenue that a county would generate could be applied to a public health project of some sort. Just saying. Just remember that this discount cannot be applied to insured copays. Okay, so for somebody that's insured, it's got really good insurance and a low copay, might not be as useful. Now, one more thing, this coast-to-coast product is unique. It also provides discounts on dentistry, veterinary services, and durables like diabetic supplies, which is also unique in this venue. I don't know how good those discounts are. I haven't investigated that yet.
Keep us
Okay.
posted.
Anything else for Dr. Mercantile this evening? I'd like to go back to the original item. Can I have a motion to refer this letter of support to the final board? Or do you need?
At the amended amount of $20,000.
At
letter of
the
support.
amendment.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
support.
Second.
No, we do not need final action for this.
So we have a motion.
I'll support.
I think Commissioner Heideman's already supported
Okay.
it. You supporting him? Motion by McConnell, Commissioner McConnell. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mercantile. Next on our agenda, and this is for final action, is a contract between the library and RISA for internet service.
Make the motion.
I'll support.
Would you like to make a presentation, Allison?
We've only had one vendor bid on this contract, so RISA was at the moment the only vendor. We had to put this bid out through FCC rules for 28 days, so it was out on Mitten for quite some time. We've worked with RISA for many, many years, and we have never seen a reimbursement from the Universal Service Funds of less than 50%. The last several years, we've seen a reimbursement of 62%, so we get a very good price on our internet service. So we are able to get very high-speed broadband internet service for all 11 of the branches countywide for the citizens for a very good price. So I just recommend that this contract be approved.
Commissioner Greathop?
Your internet service, is it fiber optics?
Yes.
Or is it's all fiber?
Yes,
All the branches have fiber?
yes. We are on, we're part of an organization called SCC 10, which is the St. Clair County something education network, and it's something that we were part of back in the late 90s. We joined.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I would make a motion that we approve this contract.
I've already had a motion in a second.
Final action.
Jeff,
It's already on the floor.
Second it.
I already seconded.
It was
Could I
moved-
please be allowed to vote in favor of it?
It was moved by Bone, supported by Rushing.
Anyways.
Yes, you'll have that opportunity now.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do you need a roll call on this?
Yeah, you do. 2 years, 160,000.
Could we have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Bone,
Yes.
Commissioner Greathop,
My honor to vote yes.
Commissioner Tamian.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thanks, Allison.
Are there other human service matters to come before the board? Hearing none, I would, at this time, just make reference to, there were 3 commissioners, 3 down here at the end, this end of the table that attended the MAC District 7 meeting. I distributed a memo to you about it. The meeting touched on dark stores, which is something that we've been talking about. We've had articles in the local media. There's also a proposal to treat 17-year-olds as juveniles, which has significant impact on county budgets. And there was also a brief discussion of the concerns of the Michigan Association of Counties about the general fund, general revenue sharing being cut next year in order to help fund the new road transportation package that takes effect January 1, 2017. I'm sure that they're working diligently to protect county revenue sharing and revenue that's going to mental health services. But the main program was put on by the Lapeer County Sheriff's Department. It was about how they have one of the most innovative and cost-effective jail programs in the state of Michigan. Now, their jail is much smaller than our facility. A lot of the things that they're doing were very interested. I was very pleased to see that both the undersheriff and the jail administrator came to that conference to participate in it, and we are involved in many of those matters. I don't know if Commissioner Connell or Heidemann have any other comments about the meeting?
Just the comments made by Senator Green when I asked him about funding for revenue sharing in light of the fact that the new road bill, $600,000 has to come from the general fund.
700 million.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge chunk of money. It has to come out of the general fund. And I wanted to hear him say, no, you don't have to worry. Your revenue sharing will be protected. I don't think I got a warm, fuzzy answer.
You didn't get an affirmative answer,
No,
that's for sure.
no, I didn't. So,
Howard, I only got one thing.
so, anyway,
Okay, that concludes my report. Do you have anything to add?
Well,
Greg?
it was good to hear from our 2 representatives from the jail that the majority of the items that were talked about, they've been implementing or we're working on them already, so it sounds like that's a good thing. I do want you to know that these 2 gentlemen picked me up, they went out of their way. Neither one did vote for me and they made me sit in the back seat both ways. So, the initial push that was on his continued. But thank you for the ride.
Welcome aboard.
No, thank you. How about a motion to receive and,
I'll make a motion for the receive and file the information only.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner Rushing. All those in favor?
Aye.
A motion to receive and file packets?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Smart.
Adjourn.
We'll call the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Judiciary Public Safety Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Tamian,
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Dunn,
Here.
Commissioner Bohm,
Here.
Commissioner Greatop,
Here.
Commissioner McConnell,
Here.
David Plum.
Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
We have motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any citizens to be heard? Seeing none at this time, are there any updates from anyone? No updates. Conceptual initiatives? None. There's no old business. Under new business, 2016 dispatch training funds grant application.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move that the grant application be forwarded to the full board.
Second,
We have motion and support. Any discussion?
just, I think this is like an annual, training grant request we put in.
Based on the money that's been spent over the past and
And I don't recall a match on it either.
No.
No.
other than they spend more than what they're used, right? The grant's typically around $20,000,
Yeah.
but there's 40-some thousand spent in the training department, so. If there's no other questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Any other judicial public safety matters? Yes, sir.
Just wanted to mention that the Sheriff's Department has gone live with Clemis. They did it last month, and I asked them the other day how it was going. They said it's good, they love the programs, everything seems to be working, a couple small bugs that they have to work out, but Under Sheriff Buckley seemed to think it was as good or better than what he expected it was going to be, so that's a positive thing. And Central Dispatch is supposed to go online February, I believe, I think is the last that we had heard about that, so keep you posted on that. I'm sure Commissioner McConnell will, but I was in on this from the very beginning, and I took a little heat from a couple of you guys because it didn't happen exactly the way it was supposed to come down, but I can take the heat, and it's okay. I'm not looking at you, I'm looking at everybody. So, anyway, thank you.
Well, just as an item on the Clemens program that I thought was really valuable is the officers can, plug it in right out there in the field, push a button, and zing, the paperwork is done. So they don't have to wait until they get back in the office, fill out the paperwork and say, oh, what happened out there in the field? So if they have to take a deposition is how it's called, they can do it right then and there and push a button and it's in.
Yeah, once all the bugs are worked out, it's gonna be a great system.
If we could, and anybody that has any additional information, I know you're aware that the Memphis police chief passed away, complication from surgery, so in remembrance of him, if anybody has any specifics about him. But I understand we also lost the firefighter in Kimball Township, was it? They just passed away 2 days ago. And just thanks for their service, and want to bring them up.
Thank you. Anyone else? Motion to receive and file packets.
So move.
Support.
We have motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Keep up with that time, Howard.
I'd like to call the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Environmental and Public Works Committee meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you take the roll?
Certainly. Commissioner McConnell,
Here.
Commissioner Greatop,
Here.
Commissioner Bone,
Here.
Commissioner Dunn,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing,
Present.
Commissioner Tamian,
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Do we have any addition, deletions, or changes to the agenda? If not, I would entertain a
I would
motion.
make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Support?
It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Citizens to be heard. Seeing none, we'll go on to commissioner updates. Any updates from commissioner in regards to any of the items? Seeing none, any conceptual initiatives from administration?
No.
No old business, new business, the Coastal Zone Management Program, Blue Ways of St. Clair County Strategic Plan. And I want to hear about it. As my daughter would say, in 26 words or less. No, I'm kidding.
I'm back in front of you again. I'm Lori from St. Clair County Planning. And it seems like every year I'm up here asking you for money, but I apply for grants and hopefully carry them out properly and get them done. And this one, just a quick background for those of you that are new, the Blue Ways of St. Clair was a grant from 2010 to 2012. We have 16 water trails in our county that are Blue Ways. And then we did the Trail Towns grant that ended last year, and that was the whole thumb. Trail Towns and Blue Ways kind of dovetail each other. They're bringing in the economic dollar that walks, bikes, and paddles through your community. So we have this successful Blue Ways, and I wanted to inventory it, and we need a plan because I'm a planner. So we have master plans for communities, and this program needs a strategic plan. So that's the deliverable for this grant. And we're also going to inventory 41 of our 52 access points, 41 of them that need to be rated, and that way we can know which ones to tackle first to update. Some of our access points are wonderful. They're in parks. Some are just roadways with re-rod and glass and bridges, and they're just not very nice, and they're dangerous. And so we want to make a strategic plan, and we also want to do a SWOT analysis on all the routes. We want to test the public, ask what they think of the routes, because right now we know people paddle them, but it's hard to take the temperature of the public. So we would like to find out which are the most popular ones, and what do you like about it, what don't. We might have to eliminate some, we might have to add some. And we're also going to use Idea Scale, and we used Idea Scale with the library for their strategic plan. It was very successful. And we would like to purchase that for the public input. So it's not a real large grant, and I hope that helps its chances. It's only $17,520. So the whole grant is double that, $35,058. So I know that's not a lot, but the Coastal Zone Management, which is DEQ, they do require a resolution, and I have passed that on to corporate counsel, and he has approved. So I know it's a small amount, but they do want that. So are there any questions about what we will be asking for? And this grant wouldn't start till 2017, so unfortunately I would like to start it next summer. But if it would be the next summer's work.
Okay, Commissioner Greatop.
Lori, how are you doing the in-kind, the 12,538?
So we are making that up mostly with my staff time and other planning commission staff time, as well as we can count the Idea Scale people and volunteers that help us. On this Idea Scale, we can't afford to pay planners to kayak. I would love you to pay me to kayak 16 different routes, but I didn't think that was feasible. So we want to harness the public. It's crowdsourcing. So, and there's a rate, a public rate, and it's I think $27 an hour, that when they sign up and then they give me their input and they say I kayaked it on this day, this is my input, I can count those hours. So the $12,538 is staff time from planning and then public volunteer in kind.
Thank you.
And the $5,000 from the planning commission, $2,500 is for Idea Scale, and $2,500 will go towards the consultant. which is Land Information Access Association, again, no surprise there. They've done the Trail Towns and the Blue Ways with us since 2010, and actually we've worked with them since 1999 when I was hired, 98. We have a good track record of working with them. And of course, we're going to incorporate in the strategic plan the National Water Trail, the plan for that, because it's under the umbrella of the Blue Ways.
Any other questions? Comments? Seeing none, thank you very much, Lori.
Okay, so you'll sign a resolution at the next board meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori.
I would entertain a motion at this time to, for the Coastal Zone Management Program Blue Ways.
I would make that motion.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. The Smiths Creek landfill activities report,
Make a motion to receive and file.
it has been moved and supported by Commissioner McConnell. Any questions regarding that? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Other environmental public works matters, seeing none. Information only. We have the notice of the day of review of the drainage district boundaries that Drain Commissioner Wiley is working on. Notice to landowners from the Drain Commission, Park and Rec financial documents, the Blue Water River Walk update for December 2015. Was that what I was reading about all of the communities all the way up and down the coast?
The Blue Water River Walk update?
Yeah,
Unless you read the coastal notes for DEQ.
that must have been it.
That's mine. And the DEQ wrote about our Trail Towns program. So
That
it
was,
went all over the state.
okay, excellent.
Yeah, we had good press on it.
Okay, notice of meetings, reconvening Board of Determination, again, that was from the Drain Commissioner. I would entertain a motion to receive and file those items.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Receive and file packets.
So move.
Support.
Been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
How's it working?
How's it working?
Real good. Let's see. Back right.
This time I'd like to call the Ways and Means Committee to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Certainly. Commissioner Bowman,
Here.
Commissioner Dunn,
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Here.
Commissioner Tamian,
Here.
Commissioner McConnell,
Here.
Commissioner Greatop,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, moving on to number 2, we have additions, deletions, changes to the agenda, and I see we have a couple.
Mr. Chairman, I would move at this time to remove Parks and Rec's manning table request and add number 1, down would be 7D. All right, we'll make that 7D, prosecuting attorney manning table request for item 7D. And then number 2, Register of Deeds manning table request as item 7F.
We have support?
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. All right, at this time, do we have any citizens wishing to be heard? Seeing none, moving on to updates. Seeing no updates. Any conceptual initiatives? Have none, and we have no old business, so we'll move on to new business. 7A, the employment agreement equalizer director. I believe Mr. Kaufman could fill us in on that.
Sure, you all received a report in the agenda packet. The state of Michigan requires St. Clair County to have a level 4 assessor, and it is very difficult to obtain your level 4 certification from the state. Therefore, it becomes very difficult to recruit someone, to retain someone, and it also can get fairly expensive. For 14 years, Mr. Greg Hill has served as the county's Director of Equalization as a level 4. He also, through an intergovernmental agreement with Lapeer County, provided those same services to Lapeer County, which has benefited our community as well and helped us financially. The Board of Commissioners are charged with ensuring that the assessment rolls, that property is assessed at 50%, and you are then required by the Tax Commission to hire a level 4 assessor. Given that it is difficult to find someone, what Mr. Hill has done is over the last couple of years recruited some talented individuals that he has encouraged to take the level 4 classes and hopefully replace him when he leaves. We do have one individual that is currently enrolled in the classes. He is doing extremely well. Greg is helping him as much as he can. At the present time, we anticipate that he will graduate from the class, if everything goes well, sometime early this summer. Originally, it was expected that he wouldn't graduate until next year, but the state of Michigan has made some changes in the education program, and as a result, we'll get to benefit because we'll get this new level 4 much quicker. In order to help transition through a new director and to provide us with adequate coverage to ensure that we're in compliance with the Tax Commission's requirements, we are proposing that Mr. Hill be brought back on as a rehired retiree for a period not to exceed 18 months. Right now we're looking at probably a 1-year period that will allow the trainee, the individual that we're looking to replace him, to spend some time working with Mr. Hill to learn the ropes, understand all the reports that need to be filed with the state of Michigan by those deadlines, and to begin developing a relationship with the Board of Commissioners as well. You've got in front of you a proposed agreement between the county and Mr. Hill. The agreement was drafted by Corporation Counsel, and if you have any specific questions about the agreement itself, you can direct them either to counsel or to myself. Staff is recommending that the Board of Commissioners enter into this agreement with Mr. Hill. It does have an out clause, so in the effect, by chance, if we decide that we're ready to sever our ties with Mr. Hill sooner, and Lapeer County is as well, because remember, we will continue to provide services to Lapeer County, then we will be able to end that agreement with a 3-month notice to Mr. Hill. So if you have any questions, I can certainly answer those for you.
Mr. Greatjob.
The call him a trainee, for lack of another term, if he completes and gets, he or she completes and gets their certification, do we have any prearranged agreement with this person that they will stay on here? Have we offered them a position here? Or could they just take and walk?
We have not formally offered this individual position at this time, no.
I guess I'm thinking if...
They have every intention of staying here. They do have roots in the community.
Okay.
They entered into the program with the intention of staying here. So I really can't see that this individual will receive their certification and then leave. And just to make sure you understand, the county is not paying for their training. That is something that this individual is paying for out of their own pocket.
Mr. McConnell.
You said we have an out, so at any time within this 18-month period that we have a level 4, then we can eliminate this contract.
Correct.
You also said Lapeer had to agree to it also?
Well, no. Lapeer just wants to be assured that we will provide a level 4.
Okay. So we don't have
So
to,
they are in
we don't
compliance.
have to have them accept it. Once we're comfortable, we can have this agreement stopped
Exactly.
and then have our new person take care of both of them.
Correct.
Okay.
Just got one question. Has to do with dollars. What's the additional cost between the contract and while we are training this other individual? What's the additional cost to our budget?
This transition was actually built into the 16 budget, and it's a savings over what we paid in 15.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
No, I'm just gonna give a plug for Greg too. I mean, they've taken on a lot of the townships, done a lot of other work, you know. I know a couple other townships that are currently in discussions with them to do their assessing, because if you remembered, I don't even remember, it's probably 3 or 4 years ago, a lot of these townships screwed their assessing up, for better lack of choice of words, and then they got dragged in the state, and then the state dinged them, and then it was like a Chinese fire drill to get a lot of this stuff straightened away. And I know that they had helped some of them through it, so at least when you're working with Greg, you're, you know, as a township, your assurance is that your assessing's getting done properly, is, you know, it's there, so.
And it's not just the townships. I can
Well,
tell
yeah.
you that the city of Algonac, were under orders by the tax commission to have their rolls redone because they weren't compliant with law. And first, Greg Hill and the county equalization department came in and redid the rolls, and that was at considerable expense, as you can imagine, to create all the new records for every parcel. And they have since then administered that roll and done a very able and cost-effective job. He's a great person to work with rather.
Yeah.
I believe that was 7 years ago when that went through, when the state went to a 14-point system back then, if my memory is correct. And everybody had to pass that. And some of the townships couldn't, and municipalities, and they incurred a pretty substantial cost. Some of the townships worked their way through without that cost. It was a concern back then. And that's when the state changed their way. Everybody had to report. Yes, Howard.
I would just like to comment about Greg's performance. When Carl and I and Administrator Bill Kaufman went over to Lansing to talk about this dark stores issue with the treasurer of the state of Michigan. And I just thought he did an outstanding job of explaining the impact and on communities.
Okay, do we have anything else? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Moving on to 7B, proposed revisions to expense reimbursement policy.
I move that the expense reimbursement policy proposed revisions be forwarded to the full board.
Support?
Any discussion? There's very minimal changes, so it's pretty much what we already have in place. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed.
I got a question, but it's all right.
Moving on to 7C, rescission of resolution. That's got to be,
I'll move rescission of resolution of the collective bargaining agreement ratification for the district court be forwarded to the full board for action later this month.
Second?
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Okay, moving on to 7D, which is now the prosecuting attorney manning table request.
Pretty good timing. I don't know how you did that.
Good timing.
Those new hirees there?
Clearly, you're afraid of my children. I supplied the information, really. I know that the district court or the court system's going through a reclassification for their employees. Our legal stenographers are similar or exactly the same as the legal stenographers in the court system. So when they heard that there was a change in pay structure, they approached me and asked if I would advocate for them to go on that same pay scale. I talked to Carrie about it, and she indicated that I could put that together as long as I was able to fit that within my existing 2016 budget, which I can. I think the number was $7,200 to do for this year, and I have enough surplus within the 2016 budget based upon some changes in staffing, and I'm asking the board to approve that change in classification for my clerical employees. That's it.
Mr. Gritchow.
Does this, and it might not be directed at you, Mike, maybe more at Carrie or Bill, does this work in better with what the courts has done? Is this something that we've been looking at doing this kind of in a long-range plan? Is this a move that we want to make so that the manning tables kind of line up across the county a little bit better? As this fits right in with what we were thinking and talking?
Yes.
Can I have a motion to forward this to the full board?
So moved.
Support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Thank you.
Thanks for fitting me into the schedule late and not making.
I was gonna try to get you here until 9:30, I don't know if you saw that.
I saw the email and I thought, well, if Mr. Rushing wants to keep my children here until 9:30, I'll have my daughter sit on his lap for the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to 7E, revision to the Board of Commissioners meeting schedule.
I want to address a couple issues coming up here, and the next meeting on January 21st, which I know we had a joint Parks meeting scheduled before that at 5 o'clock, the board meeting at 6. That is actually the MTA conference, which is down in Detroit. Now, I personally have attended the MTA the last handful of years, which is a Michigan Township Association. Reason that I actually go down there is all the townships are represented, everybody associated with the township government for the most part. For me personally, I get a lot of opportunity to talk to them all in one place that we don't get a lot of face time a lot of times in that platform. I would be attending that event. I know David would be gone at that, or down at that event. I don't know if the board, I think if we're doing the Parks and Rec piece of it, along with the board, it's important to do both of those on the same night. We don't have much on the agenda. Obviously, it's early in the year. Would you be opposed to move the board meeting to next Thursday and do a board meeting? And then we may have to schedule something different with the Parks and Rec, or I don't know, what's the flavor there, guys?
Well, Matt, I'd like to have some consideration to move it to the 28th, because when this MTA, it comes up every year, you gotta start booking about October or November. And I booked already. I serve on the planning commission for Riley Township, so I will be attending there.
Yeah, or the 28th, 14th or the 28th. I guess it really doesn't.
Yeah, either one. We can do the 14th or the 28th, but
I can't make the 28th. I just made a commitment today to be gone that week. I thought I was trying to make both board meetings this month, but
go ahead, Mark.
I'm just wondering if Mark and Rec can meet in a week with us. I can.
Yeah, truthfully, if we can do, and I'm just trying to I'm not worried about a couple of us being gone at the full board meeting because there's so little on the agenda. Let's face it, there's not much there.
I know,
So,
but if we're
let's-
going to have a joint meeting with Park and Rec.
I'll tell you what, let's keep the board meeting for the 21st and then just try to reschedule the Parks and Rec meeting at a later date. If that works for the rest of the commissioners, I'm not opposed to that.
Parks is already set for the 21st.
Right.
Two of us are gonna be gone on the 21st for sure. What I'm saying is we'd like to have everybody, probably it's more important to have everybody at the Parks.
You're concerned about missing the Parks meeting?
Parks meeting,
Okay,
correct, yeah,
all
the
right, I'm
board
with you.
meeting, I'm not.
I can do 14 or 28, or I can do 21, or whatever you want. I'm
I think
open.
we'd have to send an email out though to the parks and give them ample time to try to dump it on them. A week's probably a little bit short of a window. Why don't we just plan on canceling the parks meeting on the 21st and then let's reschedule that? Because that's not a time sensitive. I mean, if it's a week or two later, that's not really an issue.
All right, and leave our meeting on the,
Leave it on the 21st.
that's fine.
Because Carl, if we move it to 14th, somebody's going to the 28th, but like I said, the agenda's thin, so let's just do that, reschedule that parks. And then,
Do you need a motion to do that, or no?
I don't believe so. That isn't part of the Board of Commissioners meeting. That's Park and Rec.
but it's a joint scheduled meeting. I got one other thing to throw at you here. Let's go into February 18th. That is the MTA's annual dinner, which is out at Four Lakes, if I'm not going, it's whatever the new name of it is. There again, a lot of the commissioners have attended that in the past. all the township representation there. It's a great opportunity for us to go out and spend time. You don't get a lot of time to be able to get all the townships, all their board people and all that, to get in front of them and do it. It just happens to fall on that date. So I would like to move the board meeting on the 18th to either to the 25th or the 11th. So our full board, or our committee meeting would be on the 4th, and then look at perhaps the 11th for the full board.
Either one works for me.
I would prefer the 11th, but
Either one works for me.
Neither one works for me.
Either
one
of
works
me,
for
well,
me.
you're gone. Yeah, you're gone.
Yeah,
so-
I'm going, I mean, I got tickets to
Yeah,
go
no,
in that week.
no, don't worry about it. So let's do it till the 11th.
okay, I would so move.
Support. Is the motion for both those to change
Yeah.
both meetings?
I understand the
Don't-
motion. The
don't-
motion is to
Dump parks?
reschedule the park, good for them, for a joint meeting,
Yep.
and get them notice. So we're gonna cancel that from the 21st. So the
Yep.
motion is to cancel that and reschedule, and the other one is to reschedule the 2/18 meeting to the for a full board on 2/11.
Correct.
And we have a motion, and we have that supported.
Yes.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Okay, we'll move on to 7F, Register of Deeds Manning Table Request.
I'll make a motion.
Good evening, gentlemen, ladies, thank you. What I'm asking for here is, when I came into office, we started to spend, we spent a lot of time converting documents from paper documents to digital imagery. We employed a few student workers to do that work. Their funding for those positions was funded out of the automation fund, which is a special revenue fund that every filing that comes into the Register of Deeds office has a dollar amount attached to, that money is solely dedicated to that fund, and that money can only be spent for improvements, technological improvements for the Register of Deeds office. We hired some student workers to begin a process of digitizing a lot of our old documents, converting our microfiche to digital imaging, those kinds of things. While we've made very good headway in the last number of years, we're now to the point that we really want to start to exploit that information and that imagery, be able to market it better online, be able to set up a system that people will be able to access that information. The nice thing about it is, from a financial standpoint, is that I can piggyback the technology that we are developing to use that, and I can convey it into the clerk's office also and use it, because it's very similar information, same kind of format. So what I'm asking for is a position in the deeds office that'll be funded essentially from that automation fund, because that's what the two student workers that are currently there are funded out of. That would be an automation assistant, essentially, projects that we're now going to develop to use that technology to market it. So the reason I'm coming to you is for the modification in my manning table to allow for that position to be created, which is a part-time position, 24 hours a week. We would remove the two student worker positions. We also have an internet process fee that was approved by this board that we use when there are transactions that occur online. And one of my promises on that revenue would be it stays committed to these kinds of projects to continue to improve our technological ability to convey information to citizens and to customers. So that's the basis of what I'm asking for, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
In regards to that, on your memo here, it says that it's gonna be revenue neutral. But there is
Budgetary neutral.
Right.
Right.
And you have two figures there that are totaling over 40 grand.
No, there's, the reason for those numbers that are there, one is the new position, one is the positions that are gonna be eliminated.
Okay?
There's a difference of about $5,500, $5,000. We could just use money out of the automation fund to cover that difference if we so choose, because that's what it's dedicated for. But I would rather use the internet process fee revenue that we're generating by selling things online to offset that $5,000 difference.
Do you have any other questions?
I would make a motion that we do this, but I believe that the clerk would like it to be for final action today.
If the board would so approve that, I
I
would
would make
appreciate
that
that.
motion that we do it for final action tonight.
Support.
Second?
We have a second, and do we have any more discussion?
I'd just like to congratulate Jay on your work to automate the office. I'm glad to see that continue.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Does this need to be a roll call? Roll call, please.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Bone,
Yes.
Commissioner Greatham,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing.
Yes.
Thank you, and I appreciate the support for us advancing as we have, so thank you.
Okay, we'll move on. 8, other ways and means matters. Do we have any at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to number 9. Can I have a motion for the information only on a notice of public hearing, proposed amendments for City of Marine City Tax Increment Finance Authority?
So moved.
Support.
Do we have any discussion? I don't know if you have any input on that. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Can I have a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we stand adjourned.
We hope you enjoyed this week's St. Clair County Board of Commissioners meeting. Your St. Clair County Commissioners broadcast these meetings on Comcast Local Access Channel 12 every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. If you have any questions on any part of this program, please feel free to contact your St. Clair County Board of Commissioners or staff. You can find their contact information, the meeting agenda, and videos of the meetings at www.stclaircounty.org.